call the Miami County, Troy Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, January 24th, 2024 to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. McGarry?
Here.
Mr. Wolke?
Here.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Here.
Mr. Titterington?
Here.
Mayor?
Here.
Mr. Emmerich? Mr. Westmeyer? We have a quorum.
Okay, the minutes were mailed to everyone or sent to everyone. Are there any changes, revisions, or additions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, or all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. First item of business is a historical district application for 224-26 South Market Street, the installation of a wall sign. Does staff have a report?
Yes, sir. So Kevin Baer from Baer Designs has made the request for the installation of a 2.6 square foot building sign for 224 to 226 South Market Street. The multi-tenant building is permitted to have a total of 100 square feet of building signage, with each individual tenant calculated separately based on the frontage they occupy. The sign will measure 21 inches by 18 inches, or the 2.6 square feet. The sign will be made from a routed composite material with raised white painted lettering and black recessed backing. Our design manual states in section 5.4, wall signs should be three-dimensional with letters carved by a router, or letters should be individually pin-mounted or incorporated into a sign panel. The proposed signage will meet section 5.4 of the design manual. Staff recommends approval of the proposed sign based on the following. The sign will meet the City of Troy sign code requirements, and the sign will comply with section 5.4 of the design manual. That can conclude my report.
Is there any questions for staff?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So Taylor, the marketing essentials sign, is that the same size as what was there before?
Yeah, so Baer Designs also did resignation records sign
Yeah.
that was previously there and previously approved, so it's the exact same dimensions, and all this one is just black and white.
Well, after resignation, wasn't
It was a
BA
brick.
Bricks.
BA Bricks.
The Lego place? Okay,
Yep.
great, thanks.
Mhm.
Any other comments or questions?
I'll move to approve.
Have a motion to approve?
Second.
Second, Mr. Wolke. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. McGarry?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay, the next item of business is the preliminary plan application for Liberty Meadows subdivision. It's on Troy Urbana Road, east of Hunter's Ridge Drive. Does staff have a report?
Yes, sir. So this preliminary plat had come before the Planning Commission in 2021 and was approved by the Planning Commission. It has since expired, past the 2-year requirement for the subdivision regs. So really they're going back through. The only thing that's changed is the phasing of the development. Phase 1 was pretty close to the 2021 version, but the remainder of the phases has changed. So this will encompass 86.275 acres, have 179 buildable lots that range from 0.2755 acres to 0.674 acres, and will be developed in 8 phases. The first phase will create 31 lots, and the second phase will create 18 lots. Access to the development will be provided by 3 separate points. The north access point will be off Troy Urbana Road. That's the main entrance to the subdivision. The remaining access points that are located on the west of the development connects into the existing roads of Wyatt Road and Lee Road. The developer is not proposing to provide any parkland within the subdivision. They did receive approval back in 2021. We are going to ask for conditional approval for this development to go back before the park board. Staff recommends that Planning Commission accept the proposed preliminary plan with the condition that the parkland is reviewed and approved by the park board. And that'll conclude my report.
Okay, they're not proposing to enter parkland, correct?
Correct.
So they have to go back to the park board to get approval for the payment of the well?
Fees in lieu of.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Is there any action we need to take since it expired, or is it just, it's off the books, is that the way it works?
Yeah, so this is a whole new application, so you'll need to approve the preliminary
Okay.
plat.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for staff?
You have one too? Go ahead.
Just a note that, talking to one particular council member, I did tell him I would put it on the record, that who happens to be the Ward 1 councilman, he's concerned that just in his ward, he has a limited amount of parkland space, although he does, I guess there's some private parkland that's accessible by the public, particularly in light of the MOU that we recently signed with the schools regarding the school building project and Campbell Park being turned over to the school system. I will note a couple of things. Number one, in speaking with the school superintendent, their design out at Cookson will include playground space. It will be 100% accessible by the public. In his words, I'm paraphrasing, I don't want to quote him, that even though the design hasn't been done yet, that what's there at Campbell Park right now, they will look to replicate something similar when the building project is done. So there will be some parkland space there. Again, one or two of the other properties, developments have parkland green space as part of them that would be available to the public, even though they are not owned and maintained by either the park board or the city. Overall, as we are moving forward with the comprehensive plan update, we have had conversations with our contractor, Structure Point, asking them to look at overall the amount of green space, the amount of parkland space that we have citywide. They are in agreement that we do have an abundance of acreage dedicated to parkland. Citywide, I think it was exponentially more than what they see in other communities. We are and should be proud of that fact, but it does translate to a lot of maintenance by our staff when they are publicly dedicated spaces. And so just wanted to make sure that that was in the record. The previous iteration of this, the park board did approve fees in lieu of, and so they would not be breaking with their past vote on this subdivision the last time they looked at it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I have a question about the roads are named, I get that, I don't know. So, can I address the city engineer? Is she involved in the naming of the roads?
She's involved with everything.
Or is that you, Robert?
We just review
No,
road
it's
names, so
they
they're
name.
not too close to another
Right,
road.
no. So, I hate that Lytle Road runs north and south and east and west. Wish we could get that changed, but on here, we have Lee Road that runs east-west, and then it turns and it's gonna run north-south. Is there any way that that can be fixed, so that we don't have that issue again? Can that stretch be named something else?
So you have Lee Road that continues, it continues down and then becomes Lee Road and then becomes Wyatt Road,
Right.
which Wyatt Road already exists as well, connects to that.
Well, that's right, but
Are you-
you've got Lee
we-
Road making a curve.
I was gonna ask, you're proposing to the straight pathway between Lee Road and Wyatt Road, that's what you're asking to be renamed?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk to the fire department, make sure they don't have any issues with it, but we're early in
To me,
the,
that is just so confusing,
Well,
when you
but
have
we-
one road that runs two different ways.
But we really don't have a choice because we have two existing parallel roads, And what we want, we do not want dead-end streets. And so as part of the development, they connected those two roads together. So at some point, it has to transition from Lee to Wyatt or vice versa, and you don't want to do that in the middle of the straightaway. You want to do it at either corner.
That's what it
So we
does.
can't
It
unless-
changes from Lee to Wyatt at this
At-
corner. Why can't you
At
just,
the corner.
yeah, so do it at the corner of Lee,
At the bump house,
yeah. Right
But
here.
6 and 1/2 does another. I mean, you could, yeah, they could have done it the opposite, but you're still going to have the same problem.
Are you proposing that
You're still
Lee
gonna
Road
have
or
Lee-
Wyatt
You're going to have
Road?
Wyatt coming down and
she's saying
going-
a third, you're saying
A third
name.
road, yeah,
A
not
third
Lee
road.
or Wyatt, that stretch that connects
Just
would be a
another
different
name.
road name,
Oh.
is what she's asking.
I guess I don't see a problem with keeping the name of a road that makes a bend. That's what we're doing.
I don't know, I have an issue with it. I have an issue with Lido Road
Well, I don't-
changing its directions a couple of times.
It happens quite frequently in town. Mystic Lane, is
Nutmeg,
one of them.
Yeah, but Mystic Lane is a whole horseshoe.
It is,
It
Then it goes to
doesn't-
the west by Cooksville.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is, and it's a whole horseshoe.
So that's different than this.
But then you end up with Needmore Road and 5 or 6 other names, so.
Right.
When you go down there, you don't know where it
I
changes.
mean, there's no good solution and I think the highest priority that we want is to make sure that it's connected and that we're not having two dead-end
Cul-de-sacs, yeah.
streets, because from a fire perspective with $1 million pieces of equipment.
Now, it
that's
does
really-
intersect, you wouldn't see that road name from Liberty Bellway, which is one of the main thoroughfares. That third road that you're talking about, or that segment, it does intersect with American Drive, so, it could be a different name. I mean,
So you don't see an issue with having that stretch be a different name?
I think it happens around town, so
Don't look at him.
I do not see an issue.
I live on Primwood Drive. It makes an L shape.
It does make an L shape, and it remains Primwood Drive, yeah.
Man, that was a rookie mistake.
I don't know, Joe, what's your recommendation?
I think this is his best case, just because I was gonna say we would talk to the fire department, but if they're coming in on Liberty Way, I want them to know and be aware where this road is, because it's not going to be a major intersection. And so it was more so like fire. That was more what I was concerned about, like, when fire's coming in on an emergency, are they gonna know that there's this third road at the end of Wyatt and Lee Road? So if they find Wyatt, if they find Lee and they can get to it because Lee takes a bend, then I would suggest we keep Lee.
That's fine. I don't like it, but that's fine. Thank you.
Any other comments? Is there
I'll make a motion that we approve this condition upon Park Board approval.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve conditional upon the getting a Park Board agreement on the fees and lieu thereof. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. McGarry?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay, is there any additional items?
No, sir.
We have a motion for adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?